watching a bunch of the episodes she wrote from the Chippendale and Darkwing and Tailspin. I have some questions, especially about a Star is Torn and Adventures in Squirrel Sitting. I have some questions about that.
Now, just to make sure, no one's going to bring up Haunting of Mr. Banana Brain, right?
Got it.
Why? Why not bring up that one?
All right, Will's going to put you in a waiting room.
It's because Will has a special interview that he did with her on that episode, I think.
Yeah.
Why in every single time we go live that I'm here, every time in the thumbnail I'm looking downwards.
Oh, you're looking downward?
Every single time I look at the live thumbnail, I'm looking down.
The one time you're not looking down, you're just going to be like this.
Looking upwards instead.
Yeah, I got a really good question lined up for the Steermannator.
Anybody has got any new Darkwing items or anything? Like anything for the collection? Not you, Stan? What?
No.
What?
Nothing new for me for Darkwing. You know,
Nothing?
I got a new issue of Lumberjanes in today, and right now the coolest thing in the mail, and unfortunately it's not getting here till Monday, is a complete set of the Back to the Future McDonald's boxes.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, I just got my Darkwing lunchbox a few days ago.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it came with the thermos too.
Nice.
Of course, I would never drink or eat out of this damn lunchbox. That ain't happening. That is not happening. Hey, Michelle.
Michelle.
And she got the shirt.
Michelle.
Let's get dangerous.
Spoiled my Christmas present when I told someone about that I wanted to, because I was going to get paid this weekend helping my grandpa. And then I was like, hey, look, there's a Definitely Being Dangerous for like only $100. And that I am going to get it.
The VIX Army's already in the comments.
We're live already?
Yeah.
I'm definitely on my Christmas list asking for a bunch of Ducktales and Darkwing Duck stuff.
I'll probably end up with money for Christmas, which I can then use for stuff like that.
This is way off Darkwing Disney afternoon topic. Today was my daughter's final soccer game for this season.
Well, how'd that go?
Yeah, it went good. They won 6-0, but
not a beatdown.
After the game, we gave like each player like a medal. You know, we didn't have trophies to get them this year, so we got them medals. And one of the parents gave me and the other coach $100 gift card.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Yeah, I did not expect it. Like I thought it was just a $10 gift card when the daughter handed it to me. I was like, "Oh, thanks, Mila." And then when I got in the car, I was like, "Holy sh!" You know, I didn't see the other zero. Oh man, Mike, how's everything going, man?
Everything's good. We just got home. We were at a birthday party tonight for one of my wife's cousins. So definitely gotta get home for tonight.
Okay.
Things are good. They're good.
All right. If you're watching us on YouTube Live, we're waiting for Dev Ross to join us. She's still not scheduled for a few more minutes, but I thought I'd get this thing started. Mike, do you want to tell anybody who's watching what episode she wrote for as far as Darkwing?
Yes. Let me pull that up because I did not have it.
She got it quite a bit.
Yeah. She wrote a lot of Darkwings.
Yeah, she wrote a lot of Darkwing, Tailspin, and Chippendale.
Yeah.
She wrote 2 Tailspins, and then she wrote either 11 or 13 Chippendales.
And she did quite a few of the Land Before Times, right?
Yeah.
The good ones.
2, 3, and 4, and then I think one that was like around 9 or 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 is actually when I stopped like caring. I didn't like them anymore after 4.
I saw the first one and I saw the one with Chomper, and that was it.
And
the one with Chomper was bad too.
Okay. I did get my list, so I can tell you which one she wrote now.
All right.
Okay, so the episodes that were written by Dev Ross were Waterway to Go, Fungus Among Us, Apes of Wrath, Up and Awry, Time and Punishment, The Darkwing Squad, The Haunting of Mr. Banana Brain, UFO, Quivering, Quack, and she also co-wrote Trading Faces, All Fahrenheit and Love and War, Steermannator, and Extinct Possibility.
Dang, she got quite a bit of good ones.
Yeah.
And those last two she wrote with Tad.
Well, one of them outbeats everything, so it don't even matter. So, yeah.
Yep, Apes of Wrath.
Oh, you got jokes.
You don't go there.
Agree to disagree.
I mean, Time and Punishment, Quivering, Quack, and Fungus Among Us in there too. It's a good collection of episodes.
And she's the Morgana creator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Paddywhack. Mr. Banana Brain?
No, that wasn't.
No. Okay.
But she wrote the first Steelbeak episode.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
And she came up with Dark Warrior Duck.
And then,
Also, she added some cyborg implants to a certain Taurus bulba.
mhm.
I'd like to know how the writing process of that one went with Tad, since she was writing it with him. I'd love to know like how much of a percentage was him and her.
Actually, my
that'd
question
be
I'm
interesting.
going to ask her is going to be, who came up with the idea to bring Taurus bulba back, if it was her idea or Tad's, and what was behind the idea to do that.
Well, I don't have any questions myself since we already interviewed her. I just want to hear what you guys asked her. I just want to be there for her since I invited her. So I'm not going to ask her anything because we already did that a few months back. I want to let you guys have the floor.
Oh my God! Look who's joining us.
Yep.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Hi, Tim.
hi, Tim.
Hey guys,
All
What
right.
time is it over there?
2 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
You finally made it.
Yeah, he finally made it.
It's probably like 2 a.m. over there.
I
Halfway
probably said
through,
it
he
was
just
2 a.m.
Yeah, he's still upset about those towers, man. He's not gonna let that go.
I got a good laugh for that.
Hi.
I got a good laugh for that.
Man, Tim,
It's 2 a.m. here.
2 a.m.
Oof.
Yeah, Tim would be complaining about the towers to me and Mike before we even created that DW chat on Messenger. he's got a hissy fit with them towers. Tim, you gonna join us next week?
Yeah, sorry, I've got the YouTube on. It's creating feedback. It's gone off now. There we go. Next week, what's happening? Susan Silo next week, right?
Yeah, Susan Silo next week, man.
We'll see. This is
Late.
yeah, we'll see. But thanks so much for this. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
Will.
Yeah, no problem, man. You've been very
Tim,
active.
Andrew, you have another episode with us coming up soon
Um,
in a few weeks.
yes, I do.
Stress to Kill.
I'm excited for that one. I already wrote my notes down for that.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Crazy Kevin's classic cocktail weenies.
Well, that one is actually going to end up being the last one to drop of the year.
Oh, really?
That one's going
wow.
up right before New Year's.
Wow. It's crazy.
So that'll be our Christmas present.
Well, the one before it will be the Christmas present, I guess. Well, if you look at it that way, I guess that would be Time and Punishment would be the one right before
Oh,
Christmas.
that's a good Christmas present.
And Stress to Kill will be the one before New Year's.
Hey,
So
Stan,
what we
can-
should do, since I'm talking to you and Will, maybe at the beginning of that episode, we'll talk about how the year treated Darkwing Duck.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we just have the one episode. There wasn't much going on with Darkwing this year, except for the Ducktales episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we might see him again in the finale.
Yeah, but that probably isn't going to air this year.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, good point. I just remember that.
Because
Hey,
I know
Stan.
we have a batch.
Hold on, everybody. Hey, Stan, can you share the YouTube link on our Facebook page?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I just shared it on my Facebook page.
And we got quite unfortunately told that there's a December hiatus for DuckTales.
Tim's gonna ask Dev like, "What's up with the towers?"
Like she
That
would
is-
know. Should I go through the episodes again just so Tim knows which ones they are, or do you have notes, Tim?
I've got notes,
Okay.
but
Come on, Mike. You know Tim got notes.
Of course he has notes.
Tim's always got notes.
I like my excuse for the towers stretching.
I know how
Continental drift.
I thought that was clever. Yeah, I thought that made sense.
I know how we can get Tim back if we get Philip Giffen in here. Tim will be back. He's always got questions about that music.
Oh yeah, I finally listened to that podcast about him, and that was quite compelling.
Oh, the Philip Giffen one.
Oh yeah, that was really excellent.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bet you
nine.
Tim and Bill would be on there for that one. Bill has a lot of questions too. He wants those masters.
Yeah.
Good luck getting the hands of those.
Don't we all?
A quick question: does anyone hear any music in my background?
I just hear your bird.
Okay,
Just the bird.
because
Yeah.
I don't want to get us, flagged or anything for copyrighted music.
Hey Tori, when Dev joined, apologize to her that we have a Canadian in here, all right?
It looks like Dev might be having trouble with the ID, and when I gave it to her, it's correct. So maybe she's putting it in wrong. I'm gonna try to give it to her again and see what happens.
Copy paste.
Oh, hi Dev.
Tiff,
Hi.
hey, been forever.
I know.
Oh wow.
To you guys, we've had her on 2 episodes. You guys haven't even heard yet.
Oh yeah, those episodes haven't came. Oh, one of them come out Monday, right?
One of them comes out Monday, yeah.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
Valentine Rule.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then Tiffany also did Dead Duck.
Yay.
Great episode.
Oh wow.
2 back-to-back two really good ones.
At the end of Valentine, Tiffany was like, I want to do Dead Duck. And I'm like, that's the next one.
You put Mike on the spot like I want Dead Duck on the
I didn't
air
know.
while
I
we're
didn't know.
recording.
Okay, I gave her the ID. So hopefully she gets on with it.
Man, we look like the Brady Bunch up in here.
I know.
We just need 2 more.
I didn't even stay that long. I got the 2 girls in the bathtub and then dinner. It's
Okay.
always like weird on the timing on the West Coast, I think.
Oh, don't worry, Tiff. Once you leave, we'll talk bad about Liquidator.
No.
No, we won't.
Will, you're happy that Owen isn't here. He would have yelled at you for that.
Yeah,
She
Tiff-
did not write any Liquidator episodes.
Mhm. I think Tiff, Tim, and Owen are our 3 Liquidator guys. They love Liquidator.
So I posted the link on both the main podcast Facebook page and the group page.
In the group page, okay.
Okay, well,
Let me see if I
still
can-
waiting to see. I guess keep checking the waiting room, Will, and
Mm.
unless she's having a hard time with it, I hope not.
Let me see. I don't think she's in the waiting room. Let me double check. No, she's not in there.
I'm gonna keep checking. I know I gave her the correct one.
Oh, here she is.
There we go.
She's joining now.
I don't need this anymore. Hello.
Hi, got in. Took a bit.
All right. I was worried there for a second.
Yeah, I wouldn't accept the ID. Hold on, I gotta close the door.
I gotta get a screenshot when she gets back.
I'm back.
Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome, Deb. You see
Nice
this?
to see you again, Dev.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing tonight?
Very good.
As you see, Dev, you got a whole bunch of family here waiting for you to join.
Thanks.
We've all been talking almost every Saturday night since the quarantine started. So we've
Mhm.
become a family here.
Well, it's good. Good to see your family.
The majority of us are Darkwing fans, but some of them are fan of your stuff outside of Darkwing.
Oh, that got around, did it?
Yeah. So, Dev, where you at? You're in Cali, right?
No, I'm in Arizona.
Oh, Arizona. Okay.
So it's 7:00 there, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, after 7 now. Yeah. 7:08.
All right. Well, Dev, I guess I'll let everybody introduce themselves.
Okay.
I don't know how we're gonna do this because everybody's screen might be different, so I'll just say your name and then tell
That's a good
her?
idea.
Yeah. Okay. So Stan.
Hi, I'm Stan. I'm a Darkwing Duck fan from Vermont.
Andrew.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm a DW fan from Mississippi.
Vix.
Hey, I'm Vix, a Darkwing Duck fan from New Jersey.
Hi.
Tori.
Hi, I'm a Darkwing fan from Tennessee.
Cool.
Oh, all right, Dev. This is the one I don't want to introduce. They already know who it is. Jordan.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Jordan. I'm a Darkwing and Tailspin fan from Ontario, Canada.
Hi.
Well, you know Mike. Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I'm in New York. I'm a Darkwing fan.
Oh, hi, Michelle.
New York.
Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim from the UK. I'm a Darkwing fan as well.
Hi, Tim.
He's in the UK, Dev. It's 2:00 in the morning. He joined the chat just for this.
Okay. You're crazy, but okay.
And Tiffany.
Darkwing fan from California.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hi.
And Deb, Tiffany's definitely a huge fan of yours because she loves Morgana just as much as I do.
So not just the United States, we've got Canada and the UK here tonight.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, international.
So Deb, you been doing all right?
Yeah, I mean it's been hard.
It's been hard.
Especially in the entertainment industry. I also do a lot of theater. I write a lot of theater and plays, and all that just came to a screeching halt. I was supposed to start on several animated projects. Everything came to a screeching halt. So it's it's just been really difficult. But interesting enough, I have an interview with my old alma mater, Disney, on the 19th to work on developing some more shows. So we'll see. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. We'll see. I've gotten used to walking my dog, studying Spanish, learning to play the ukulele. So, and then I wrote a play to be shot for television during this time, and I wrote a play called Voices from the Graveyard. And we actually took audiences around headstones, and I had actors portray the people that had died and interacted, and it was really cool. We kept, everybody wore masks, and we kept the audience was taken through the graveyard in a tour, with small groups, and people loved it. I think they were starved for entertainment to talk to dead people, but so when you gotta write, you gotta do, but it's been weird, just really hard, strange. Yeah. How about for you guys? Anybody?
Don't nobody want to know who want to start. But,
So I'm the only one that's abnormal.
Well, I work in education, and it's been super weird that I work full time, but all the kids have to wear masks. We have to be outside most of the day, and my daughter is in first grade. She has to wear masks, and my wife is a kindergarten teacher, and it's so different right now. It really is. It's kind of scary, but we're trying to keep it normal,
Yeah, it's the new normal. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got this for a while, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're working, it's a blessing. If the entertainment business has been really hard, and so it's. But with everybody, binge watching everything on Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that, hopefully that'll create a big,
Thank God for Disney Plus, right, guys?
Yeah.
Well, Deb.
Okay, who else? Oh, okay. You asked me questions. I want to ask you guys questions.
Well, okay. Well, the thing is that normally we hang out here every Saturday night and we just talk Darkwing, Ducktales, Disney afternoon movies, anime. We talk all kind of things. We can talk about our jobs and careers and schooling and stuff going on. But because you're here, it's going to turn into an interview.
Okay. Ask away. I'm an open book.
All right. Tiffany, since you can't stay long, let's just start with you.
I was actually going to say, hold on, I need to check on something really quick.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay. All right,
I didn't want to be rude. I'll be right back.
Okay, we'll start with Tim then, since he's 2:00 in the morning.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I've been revisiting your episodes, and I think they're some of the best ones in the show, particularly Time and Punishment. There's one episode I'm not allowed to mention, which I'll skip across. And also even episodes like UFO, I think are really great. And what I wanted to ask, one of the questions I wanted to ask, in that you're dabbling so much and playing with comic book form, and you're playing with sci-fi and sending up sci-fi films and things, and you like a lot of the episodes open with exposition, people talking almost like a comic panel. And also in Time and Punishment, where you're delving into stuff like, it feels like The Dark Knight Returns, and even 2000 AD Judge Dredd. I wanted to know, are you when you came to the show, and this is what it's really about, kind of pulp and comic books and cult television and this kind of stuff. Are you coming from theatre? Have you always been somewhat of a nerd?
No, I was the popular girl. No, I'm just kidding. I was a cheerleader, though. I will admit. No, I wasn't a nerd. And, this was so weird for me because I never read comic books. But I was a huge sci-fi fan. And my father introduced me to Martian Chronicles when I was very young. Love science, still to this day, I love science fiction. I love action adventure. I love comedy. But I was writing since the time I was 5, making up stuff. So maybe I was a nerd in that way. I would put on shows for the neighborhood and charge the kids a penny. And, I'm 5 years old. And then at the end of the show, I'd give them a penny back so they'd come back the next week. So I guess that's pretty nerdy, isn't it?
I asked because you often take a lot of tropes and you sort of turn them on their head. And sorry, I didn't mean that in a derogatory way. It's kind of fashionable to be a nerd now. But certainly then, like, to do this stuff well and for it to resonate, you have to know the material quite well. And I think, as I say, like, especially with Time and Punishment and UFO, everything is kind of so spot on for you then to kind of flip it. And there just seems to be such a strong grasp of kind of genre storytelling and comic books and TV in those. That's why I was thinking the question.
Yeah. Well, I did get to work with Tad Stones, and Tad Stones was hugely into comic books, and he would lend them to me. And I did read them, but it wasn't something, it was to educate myself. And I had a great mentor in Tad, and he literally let me loose, I was a newbie. And he let me loose. But I think that what I brought to it, I came from such a different direction than anybody. I was an actress. I was touring in theater. I toured all the country. I lived out of a suitcase. I toured in funky little towns, and I spoke to all kinds of people, and they would tell me crazy stories, and you'd go into a diner, and I'm the one, you listen to a waitress back then, telling a story, and it was whacked, and I would listen, people, and then I turn around and, do you mind if I ask you a few questions? So, a lot of my ideas come from just having traveled and speaking to all kinds of people and getting really, life is stranger than fiction, and the people that you meet. Does that resonate at all? So, having been an actor, and at that time I toured in theater for a good 8 years, all over the country, met all kinds of people. And I knew when I wrote stuff, I knew how the characters should sound, and they weren't just comic book they were three-dimensional characters to me because I had done so much stage work, and most of the stage work I did, I also wrote. So I hope I'm answering your question, but that's
You didn't grow up with comic books.
What's that?
You didn't grow up with comic books then, or cult TV.
No, this is all out of this. And like I said, science, reading science fiction a lot. I read a lot. But yeah, I think I'm just probably odd. I don't know. And I did feel because I was originally the only woman there. And I really felt out of it because the guys would talk about comic books and Carl Barks and I had no frame of reference other than my match, just up in here.
Right.
All right, Tori, you got a question for it?
Like that's a disappointing answer, but it's true.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, so like you mentioned, you were the only woman writer there for a while, and even still today in most shows, there's only like one woman writer at the table. Like, that's what I'm like trying to ask is like, the like difficulties of being the only woman at the writers' table, and like where do you see like women writers in the future?
So what was the first part of the question?
Like how you mentioned you were the only woman at the table.
Yeah.
And how even still today, most of the time there's only just one woman at the table.
Yeah, there right now, there's a big push to change that. In fact, when I get inquiries about stuff, I get inquiries from my agent, or I get inquiries from like, there's several different publications that say, hey, we're looking for this, we're looking for that, or we're looking for a writer for this. Would be great if she was a woman, even better if she was a woman of color. I mean, there's a huge push now. But when it was just me, that was kind of horrible, actually, because initially I was treated very poorly by the guys that became my friends later. But initially it was like going through the gauntlet, they did some terrible things to me, just mean. But I'm tough, and so I didn't fight back. I tricked back. I played jokes back. I did all that stuff. I got talked, just like a lot of women tell me now, in a lot of those meetings, I got spoken over, not listened to. I would put out an idea that they would poo-poo and then later go back to it, things like that. And I know that I speak to a lot of young women now, not in the writing field, but who say that the same things happen to them, that they get spoken over, they get marginalized. And the good news is that's really changing. Big time now. I mean, especially in Disney, they have a huge female and diversity program going on now that's really pretty promising and exciting. I'm often sorry that I missed it, but yeah, it is what it is. Are you interested in writing?
Mm-hmm.
Great time for women. Go for it. Such a great time. Really is. So do it when you're young, because there's now the next thing I'm hitting is age discrimination. So that's a whole other thing.
Right,
did I answer your question?
Yeah, it did.
Good.
All right, let's go to you, Tiff.
I was going to ask some of the same questions about being a female writer, but my other question is about horror. If you were a horror fan, because I could see a lot of influence with stuff, and if so, what was your favorite?
Okay, see, I'm going to be totally a bummer again. Every time I start working, I mean, the first time I saw, was it Alien? What was I mean, I was just like, well, anyways, I'm one of those types that, get up and throw up. I'm watching horror. I get so scared that I have to hold on to somebody. I watch like this. But it all started with an old cult classic called The Beast with Five Fingers. Did anybody ever see that?
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I watched that as a kid. It was like an addiction. It scared the crap out of me. And then I would have these dreams, and so The Beast with Five Fingers really scared the crap out of me. And then there was, I can't think, if I knew you were going to ask this, I would look up some of the films that I watched. But again, even now I was watching a sci-fi thing the other night. And I was like, yeah, space sci-fi, and then it turned zombie and horror, and I'm like, oh man, sci-fi. I don't want the zombies in space. It's just now that everybody's space is going to get eaten up. So I'm not particularly into horror. It's very upsetting to me. But again, I have this bizarre imagination, and I have dreams that are horror. I had a dream the other night that was a complete horror flick. I dream about body snatchers. I have dreams about that I wake up and somehow I've been transported to another dimension, and I'm now on a planet where there's purple skies and nothing has evolved like it has on Earth, and I have to get to know how to walk and talk like the sentient creatures. I mean, I dream that crap all the time.
That's awesome.
It's exhausting. And so a lot of it I would put into, I would use it in my in shows.
Now, is The Beast with Five Fingers the hand movie with Peter
Yes.
Lorre?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Watched it every day after school. But
Awesome.
my sister and I, when we were growing up, we shared a room, and we used to have horror night, and we had these such vivid you guys are going to think I'm on drugs, but this is the truth. We had such vivid imaginations, and when we were together, there was this confluence that happened, like a mind meld of psychosis, and we would see things in the room. And I swear to God, I still remember robots coming into the room, astronauts coming into the room, monsters coming into the room. We once had a train go right through our bedroom. I mean, we would see this stuff, and just, we still, as adults, we talk about it. We call it, God, remember Fright Night? And I've never told anybody about it. I'm telling you guys about it. My parents, they ended up wanting to separate us in different rooms because they were like, no more Fright Night. The bed with our sweat, because we would just imagine these crazy things. So, yeah.
Well, Dev,
That's where it comes from.
Nice.
Dev, our next two questions are coming from a younger group. They're both 14 years old. Or Andrew, did you turn 15 yet?
No, I turned 15 Friday.
Friday.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh no.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
All right,
Happy
so
birthday, Andrew.
Thank
all right,
you.
let's start with Vix. Go ahead, Vix.
Okay, so I personally love quivering quack, and I'm curious up to where the idea of quivering quack Gosselin came from, and if you could, would have you included more quivering quack episodes?
If I could have.
Yeah, and where the idea for it came from.
I'm so sorry. I do not remember it, but I can. An educated guess was that it would come from my favorite thing as a writer is when the writers on the team would roundtable, and we would start to what was it? Remind me, quivering's skill?
Archery.
Yeah,
Dodgeball.
okay, so it was archery. Okay, so that did generate with me because I think archery is really cool. And so we would think about what skill or what kind, so you'd start with that. And I think archery is just awesome. And so I would throw that on the table, and then we would start just, extrapolating, talking about it, throwing around ideas. And then by the end of an hour or 2 hours, you've created this character. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened is how we came up with the character. But it wasn't just me. It's we would talk about stories. I would come to Tad and I'd say, I have this kernel of a story. I really want to do it. Like one of my episodes, I think was, like, what if you had ships, but they were in sand, So you have a fish out of water. You have a ship in the middle of the desert, then you start with that image. Let's pull out from it, what could happen. So we would start those conversations and then develop a lot of our stories. So there were, sometimes it was just me, and then sometimes it was a group effort, which I really liked, because when it's a group effort, then everybody's stories are similar. They fit together. They're not like, well, God, this series is all over the place. They fit together. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
It's been a really long time, you guys, and I don't watch those episodes anymore. I just don't. I'm on to, I'm creating other stuff now. So I'm sorry if my answers aren't really cool, great. But
You're doing fine in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Andrew, you next.
All right. What led you to write for animation after your experiences in theater?
That's a good question. Starvation.
Gotta pay the bills.
I was so real. I so unsexy, this story, I gotta tell you. I was working as an actress, and all of a sudden I turned a certain age and I wasn't working as an actress anymore. And you kind of hit a certain age and they don't want you anymore. So my husband's first wife had been a very famous movie star, and she started writing animation and was getting a lot of jobs, and she couldn't keep up with them. And I was now married to her ex-husband, but we were all really good friends. And you don't have to hate your husband's ex. It's like stupid, like too much hate. So you just, you embrace him. Plus she babysat for me. It was great. So I started ghostwriting. Nobody knows this stuff, guys. I started ghostwriting her scripts. And people liked them better than what she was writing, unfortunately. So for her. So I was on a softball team that was, an actors softball team in Los Angeles. And one of the girls said, I've just started working for an agent and he's looking for animation writers. And I was so broke, and I was pregnant, broke and pregnant. And I hadn't acted in a long time. And so I said, I'll do it. And she goes, well, can you have a spec script for me by this afternoon? So I went and I took Deborah's name, because I was ghostwriting, right? So I took her name off the script, put mine on, gave it to the agent. Next day, he sent me to a couple of interviews. A week later, I was sent to Disney with that script. And that's how I started writing animation. I ghost wrote for her, knew a little bit about it, started watching Gummy Bears to really get myself like watching Gummy Bears. And then I started working for Disney, and I barely knew how to I mean, I was working on a typewriter, guys. You know, I didn't know what I was doing. I lost 17 pounds in the first 2 weeks because I was so stressed out. But there's really, there was a gentleman named Bruce Talkington, who's now deceased, fabulous writer. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of his episodes. He worked on Chippendales, Rescue Rangers. But he just every day would teach me one thing about the computer and what to do and how to do it. And, you know, I took one day at a time. So that's how it happened. Watched a lot of cartoons, lost a lot of weight. That's how it all started, from playing softball.
Thank you.
Michelle, you're next, but I'm gonna ask her a question from the YouTube comments. Dev, I don't know if you can really answer this one because it's referring to the new Ducktales, but it ties in Darkwing. Sona on YouTube asks, "What's your opinion on Ducktales 2017 Goslin? Any ideas of what the new mighty quivering quack might act or look like?"
None, because you know what, they don't ask us. You know, we were the old, you know, it's a whole new team. I have no idea. I do think that the new stuff looks really great.
Oh, yeah.
The animation is it's just fabulous. But I wish I could answer that, but
well, I'm sure if you were involved with it though, they would make you sign an NDA. You probably couldn't even answer that anyway.
No, I couldn't.
Yeah.
No. But I wish they would. I mean, we were on the ground floor of, I was on the show when it was 00 Duck. You know, we weren't even Darkwing Duck then. We were 00 Duck and working it. And when, you feel like you've given birth to these characters and then they get taken away. But that's what happens when you work for a company. Everything you write. I wrote Morgana, I created her, and then she got taken away from me. And, it hurts, but you just get used to it. I wanted to do all this stuff with her, but then she was no longer mine. So I thought she should have her own show, but
me and Tiffany would have loved Morgana's own show.
Oh, I just like,
Yes.
come on.
All right, Michelle.
I think going on that vein, do you think Morgana is more the Addams Family or the Munsters?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. She was really a character that I had created as a stage out of in a stage play, and I still use her up until So I would probably say more Addams Family, because there's a more sexy quality to the Addams Family. But Morgana came from a stage play that I wrote that was musical. She had a kick-ass song, and now because I gave her away to Disney, I created another character that I do a touring show with. That's based on her. And I play her, by the way.
Oh.
Nice.
All right, Jordan.
Yeah, I have a tailspin question. Actually,
okay.
It's about the episode of Stars Torn. Like, were you like a big old time Hollywood fan when you wrote that episode?
Yes, and it also comes from the fact that my husband's ex-wife had been a movie star and worked with the likes of oh gosh, hey John, who was the scary guy that Deborah worked with? Who was the horror film star that Deborah worked with? Was it Bela Lugosi? Basil Rathbone or Vincent Price? Basil Rathbone? Okay. So she had worked with Bela Lugosi, Basil Rathbone, Vincent Price, and just told me all kinds of stories about, because she was a young girl, a very young actress, and got a chance. She was the ghost in the wild bikini, I think, with Vincent Price, you know, stuff like that. This old, none of you guys know these movies. Anyway, she would just tell me all these stories of old Hollywood and all this gossip stuff. And I mean, some really lurid stuff too about old Hollywood. And I just, like I said earlier, I love to listen to people's stories, and especially if you're interested in writing, boy, you know, listen to those stories. And so that's what I used is tales that she told me.
Did you get a lot of pushback from broadcast and standards like BS&P?
Yeah, me especially, all the time.
Because after watching A Star is Torn, there's a lot of stuff that you'd never be able to have in a show these days.
Yeah. Yeah, I got my hand slapped a lot.
All right, let's go to you, Stan.
Well, my question is about the episode The Steermannator from Darkwing Duck. And
I did that with Tad.
It's a two-part question. The first part being, since I know you co-wrote that one with Tad Stones, was it your idea or Tad's to bring back Taurus Bulba? And what went into the decision to bring him back?
Oh gosh, you know, it's just been so long. I believe it was me that wanted to bring him back. Yeah, it was me that wanted to bring him back. We just kept, again, that was me. But so what was the other part of the question?
And what was behind the decision to bring him back?
Well, honestly, on a more less artistic level, but more on what well, in a way, I mean, what happens is what you do is when you do a show, you look for which characters have Q. Have you ever heard of that before?
I don't think so.
It's used a lot. It's like, so especially nowadays because they'll take a character from a show and spin off on it. You've seen that a lot. So we'll develop a lot of characters, especially in Disney, and if that character gets a lot of interest or a lot of Q, it's just like it's a quotient. They see that statistically, a lot of people are watching those particular episodes, responding, they're getting letters in. Then they make a note. And they go, the quivering quack's getting all these, this would be a great character to spin off. Launchpad. That's what happened with Launchpad. In the Ducktales, everyone loved Launchpad. Now, we didn't spin him off on his own series, but we knew that he would be a great diving off point, to bring in with Darkwing. So that's really where it happened, is like, let's bring back this character. Let's create a cool story. Let's see if he gets that cue, and then maybe we can do more. Like Negaduck's used a lot, right? Well, Negaduck got great response. So you start doing more Negaduck episodes. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I'm sure it didn't hurt that Taurus Bulba was voiced by the legend Tim Curry either.
Yeah. But I also got to tell you, voice actors were really important, but they also could be very difficult at times. And I was there when they fired a couple of voice actors very hard. They thought that they couldn't be fired because they were so iconic and so connected to a character. And believe me, I voice directed. I had to fire one. Got food thrown at me too. This particular actor went and called another big actor at the time that was with Disney, Nick Nolte, and oh man, just started this whole huge fight. But when you're recording these, and because I was voice directing, I didn't do Darkwing Duck, but I did Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. It's great to have somebody like Tim Curry and stuff, but you can't do it too often. And why is because they're so expensive, and because you're knocking these babies out. You're doing 2 in a row, 3 in a row, knocking them out, trying to get your best performances. And stars are, they don't want to do that. So not that he didn't. He was great. I mean, Carol Channing was great. We worked with Robin Williams was just spectacular. Of course, you have to have a whole day with him because he just improv so much, and they have to go back and rewrite the script and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're going to get somebody like Tim Curry, then you're probably not going to use the character too much. It's just going to be a special thing because it's just too expensive.
Mike, you got anything?
Nothing off the top of my head, Will, actually, because all the questions I had for you, Deb, we asked you on your interview. So I don't have anything to ask at the moment. Anybody else, though?
I've got one more. It's a couple more. It's all right. I'll limit it to whatever you want. Dev, I wanted to ask just in terms of Darkwing Duck, it had more, well, certainly up until that point in Disney television history, it had a lot of risque kind of adult edgy humor, and it was made after The Simpsons. And I think it stands up now quite well because it makes pop cultural references, and there's lots of humor that will go over someone's head. And I was just watching UFO actually before this began, and there's a moment where they're talking about Oompa, and they're using that to suggest something else. And then there's another moment where, well, a set piece in which Darkwing is reduced to his brain form, and then there's quite a dark sequence where Darkwing's body with a robot brain is holding his own brain and talking to it. And I just wondered at that time, being a staff writer, were there discussions about how far you could go in terms of tone and going into risque humor?
So I'm sorry, you were coming in and out. Was the question, did we have parameters of where we could go?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yes. And like I said, I was constantly getting in trouble.
Is there anything you really wanted to do that you couldn't?
Oh, yes. So many things that, yes, I was constantly having to rewrite. They'd go, we love this, take it out. Very funny, take it out. Too edgy, take it out. Because it was Disney. One time from Disney, I got 2 sets of notes on a script. So from Disney, I got too much violence, take it out. From ABC, I got too much love, take it out. That one I remember really well because I still have this script stored somewhere because I just thought it was so crazy on one script to have that kind of, you'd get notes and you just go, what? How the hell do I make these things work?
Was it harder writing for like the later episodes and the ones that aired on ABC? Did you get more notes from that network than the ones you wrote for syndication? Because I had heard from Tad that you did, and I was just always curious about that.
Yes. Yeah.
ABC was stipulate what characters you could use, because we're all fans of characters like Quacker Jack, Boy Shrew, Liquidator, and they never showed up that season. And I've always been curious about it, if that was ABC's doing, if they were insistent on what you guys could do and what you couldn't do.
Yeah, they were. I think Tad would agree with me, and it was really hard for him. They got very heavy-handed on the look of the show, who we could use, who we couldn't, how far we could push things, how far we couldn't.
I know the first season he wouldn't. He told them they couldn't give him notes when they wanted the first batch of episodes, but then I heard later on that all changed.
Yeah, yeah. When the show, it was crazy. The show was really successful, and then everybody wanted in, and we were dealing with so many different sets of notes, and so Tad would just go through them, and then sort of he'd say, "Look, Dev, here's a sheet of notes, but just listen to this one, this one, this one, this one, because we'll just never get through this." But the later, I have to be honest, I enjoyed writing the early episodes so much more than I did later.
You can tell across the board watching them that that's actually the case.
What's that?
You can tell across the board watching the show that that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Those later episodes have their fans. I like a bunch of them, but you can definitely tell there was a lot more creativity and freedom with those early episodes.
Exactly. And, I know you had asked me if you could speak to Carl Gears. He doesn't, he didn't want to be he just lost his wife too. So that's a bad thing. One of the creative geniuses at Disney was Carl Gears. And it was so hard. He was so creative, and to constantly be told no, 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 no. And the longer I was at Disney, the more we were told no, the more we were confined. In the beginning, in the early years, when Disney Afternoon was just really flowering, oh my God, best job in the world. I just felt like I had done something right to end up there, because I just, it was, how many of us really look forward to going to work? I mean, I couldn't wait for the weekend to be over so I could go to work, because to be with all these creative people and to sit with the artists, and, they knew I could, I came from the theater. So I remember we were doing an opera. They had me sing, and then they had me tap dance, and they would draw away. I mean, it was exciting times. And then later on, well, the actors, the writers can't really talk to the storyboard artists, and it got more and more rigid. And I ultimately left and I went to do the Land Before Time movies, the little dinosaur movies, because I felt like I was so stymied. So that's the bad part, and that came later. The good part was those first few years were just every creative person's dream.
I have one more question. You wrote one of the very last episodes with Tad, Extinct Possibility. When you guys were writing those last few episodes, did you know going in that was going to be the end of Darkwing, or did you expect there to be more eventually? Like, how did that go?
I think we wanted more. I don't know that we expected it, because by that time things were starting to turn. I know we wanted it, and I know we had Tad and I would spend hours just talking about creative ideas, but it was kind of taken away from us at the end.
I have an interesting question. Was there ever a time where you knew a specific animation studio was going to be animating an episode, and that you could say to yourself, oh, gee whiz, they're really good at this. Let's put an emphasis on this action. Did anything like that ever happen?
No, but you're kind of in the right arena. Depending on which animation house we went to, we always wrote what we wanted to write, no doubt about it. But we would find out, oh, it's going to this animation house, and go, oh no.
Kennedy cartoon.
Kennedy.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We're so effed, because we would write timing jokes. Well, like for instance, and this is not, I don't want to be, this is not a value judgment, but back then South Korea was just getting into, doing a lot of the animation. And I lived in South Korea for 3 years and I loved it. I love the people. I love working there. But one thing I realized is being up close and personal with those people and watching them work, their humor is not our humor. They don't, the jokes don't translate. And so we would write it a certain way, and then South Korea is animating it, and we get it back and we go, that's like a weird interpretation of what I wrote. So, and they didn't understand that it had to be boom, 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 boom timing. And so what happened is we would start to send the directors over there to work with them to bring it up, but to get it more our style. But what would happen in Disney, it was just so maddening, is that we were doing so many retakes where, we'd have to send it back, and it was done over and over and over and over. And we were able to do that. And that's one of the reasons why we're so successful. Is if you look at our stuff next to what like Hanna-Barbera was doing, or even Warner Brothers, is that, other companies at that time, our stuff just boom, 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 boom. It's because we had the money. We did the retakes, whereas other companies didn't want to spend the money. So here I am, fast forward to last year, and I'm working with Carl Gears and Carter Crocker, two of the best Disney writers ever. And Carl's was a producer there. We're creating a show for India called Purple Turtle. And we're getting all excited because we're developing it. We're doing the old Disney roundtable, and, Carl's in LA, I'm in Arizona, Carter's in Tennessee, but we're getting together like you guys every week, and we're talking and having great ideas, and we write these scripts, and then we get them back, and they were embarrassing. Carl quit, Carter quit. I stayed on because I needed the money. Everything was slow, and instead of close-ups and mid, 3 shots and medium shots and full shots, they just did everything in master shots. So there's no acting for the characters. There's no decisive storytelling. So I'm really getting off subject here. I even forgot what the question was. Well, because I was extrapolating off your question about, knowing the animation studios.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's all different, I think India's animation studios still have a ways to go, but now you've got, in Malaysia, in India, in South Korea, in Japan, in China. I mean, you just have some really good animation houses, and, with 3D now, I mean, it's just a whole new world.
Deb, was it a crapshoot what episodes went to what studios, or were there ever times when episodes specifically went to different studios, or was it?
No, you contracted with a studio and they did the series, because you know what, you wanted them, even if it was a tremendous amount of retakes, redos, you wanted them to get to know the show and understand the timing. So you stuck it out with them.
Was there ever a case when someone said, this is a great script, we're going to send this to this studio for sure? Or was it you had to use whichever ones they went to?
Yeah, you had to use whoever they hired. Yeah.
You got super lucky that Fungus Among Us went to Disney Australia, because everybody wanted that studio. I know Taz said he wished every Darkwing episode went to Australia.
Did Tad say that? Well, we must have switched in the middle. But you know what? Tad would be the one to ask those questions, not me, because I was just
I know he
a
liked
lowly writer. What's that?
I know he liked that studio, but they didn't stay on very long because they would need it over at Goof Troop.
Yeah. So did he tell you that they went to different studios? Because that was just not my experience.
He had said everything was random. It wasn't specific. It wasn't specified.
Okay, then I will default to that. Maybe it's the later series, because I know in later series we contracted with a studio, and that was the one, and there was a learning curve. So I will stand corrected.
Dev, can I add to that? Just talking about the animation, I wanted to ask, just having watched some of your episodes, when you were writing, were you involved? Were you involved at all with other departments outside of writing? So were you involved with, I don't know, storyboard or anything to do with the animation? Just because, especially with your episodes, there's so much stuff where it's not kind of on the nose dialogue, and there's visual gags. And you were talking before about shots, about shot sizes. And I was just watching one actually where there's a reveal shot of Negaduck walking down. I forget which the Negaduck quivering quack episode actually. There's a bit where there's a reveal gag, and you use a lot of transitions too. There's one at the end of Time and Punishment where when there's the payoff at the end when Goslin returns to St. Canard, to normal St. Canard, and she sees real Darkwing. You see the future Darkwing's eyes set up, and then it's revealed that it's actually real Darkwing. And I wondered, just looking at those, how many of those were written beats by yourself, or if you just because a lot of it is so bold and might not, it seemed like it was quite risky on paper, and some of it's quite absurd as well and surreal. I just wanted to know if at the writing stage you had visual people involved with that, so you could push the humor as far as possible.
Yeah, I would. I actually had a couple of storyboards artists storm into my office and scream at me, really get mad at me, saying, "Don't you trust us?" And it wasn't that I didn't trust them, but I see everything visually and I write it that way. So oftentimes what you see, I've written, I've put out very, pushing on his eyes, pull back so wide. I would direct every frame, and I want to direct my own pieces. Now, what would happen, of course, is that if I knew the storyboarders that I was working with, they would tell me, "Oh, I really love this, Deb, but I'm going to plus it, or I want to change it, and I want to do this." And I go, "Oh yeah, even better, do it." So most of the times, for me, like there were some writers that wrote in more master shots and let the storyboarders break up the shots and decide. I didn't. I called out every single shot. I broke up dialogue with a quick cut to with it, and then back to the dialogue, and I'm very heavy-handed that way. But I felt like I could have a lot of that. I learned from going to some of the worst studios that just didn't have timing. So I thought if you can write that timing into the script, you'll get closer to it when they animate it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you add so much extra subtext as well to the dialogue, I think, that probably isn't in there in some of the lesser episodes of other episodes that you were involved with. And I think it really elevates it. And I really like how you have these flashbacks and cutaways to, for example, like in UFO, where you see Launchpad on a high chair, and there's a reveal with that, but that the character's talking about something else, but we're seeing visuals that correspond but not directly, and it makes it so much more sophisticated. I really enjoyed that.
Well, thank you. Well, again, I got in trouble a lot for that, but I think ultimately it really worked. And it was interesting because I would go to after Disney, and I would do that same thing in other studios where I would have an actor doing something, but meanwhile, I'll never forget, I had an actor doing something and having a little speech, but you pan down his leg and there was a bug doing something, and you were like, "We love this, don't ever do it again, we're not doing it," because it's just, we want to stay on our stars. But I thought it just made it richer. Yeah. So Tad let me get away with it, but not many other places. But thank you, that's a great question or observation.
I've got a question for you. Do you own any Darkwing merchandise?
I have a T-shirt. I think somebody stole it. I had one. Stole it. No, I think most of my stuff got ripped off somehow, some way. I don't know. John, did you stack away any Darkwing Duck merchandise? Do you still have it hidden away? Yeah. What happened is that my husband I'd get something and he would take it and I wouldn't see it.
That's a good husband. Good job,
Yeah.
husband.
You know, one day this will be worth a lot of money and we'll retire on it. Yeah. I don't think so.
We'll have to get you a Funko Mini of Morgana.
What's that?
A Funko Mini Morgana.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, it's one of only 2 Morgana things that were ever made. That and there's a pin as well.
Yeah.
I actually got both of them right here.
Let me see.
Closer, Will.
Oh, closer.
Wait. Cool. Oh my God. My baby.
Tiff, you should get her to sign your fan art that you did of Morgana.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. I made her as Elvira.
Oh, well, of course. Of course. It was part ripoff of Elvira. Yeah. Elvira.
And Deb, she drew her with her feet showing. Because in the cartoon, they never show her feet.
Yeah. That's the sad thing.
Is you just screaming, I gotta go.
Oh, you gotta go, Tiff?
Bad, yeah.
All right, see you, Tiff.
Bye, Tiff.
Bye.
Bye,
It was nice to meet you.
You too.
Bye.
I want to apologize. Last time I was on, I watched a bunch of my episodes because I knew you were going to ask me questions. I haven't looked at them since. And, we writers are always on to the next project. So if my answers have been less than satisfying for you, I really apologize. I just don't. Writing Darkwing Duck was truly the highlight of my writing career in animation. I've done a lot of live action stuff. But in animation, Darkwing Duck I thought I could bring everything about who I was to that show. All my nuttiness and adventure and comedy. But we do go on and we work on other things, and I have all those things on my mind. So if I haven't answered your questions
you did fine.
Yeah,
you
good
definitely
answer.
did fine.
Yeah.
Great.
Now, Dev, there was one episode they were not allowed to talk about or ask any questions about. And the reason is because I don't know if you remember, but I interviewed you specifically for that episode. So I didn't want them to ask any question that would ruin that interview I have with you. Yeah. But I wanted to know something, so they're probably going to get mad at me for this.
I can answer it. I hope.
All right, I'm shooting my shot here, guys. I'm really shooting my shot. Is there any chance you still have the script for The Haunting of Mr. Banana Brain? And if you do, can I please get it autographed? Come on.
I can look for it. I'll tell you what, I'll look for it.
I'll take that. Yeah.
I have to tell you that when I was younger and stupider, I would give them away, and people asked. I gave away so much stuff.
That's better than a no, so I'll take that you'll look for it. I know for most of us that episode is probably top 5, but I know for me and Vix it's our favorite.
I got a question.
Yes.
What was it like writing Jake and Gosling's father-daughter relationship?
Oh, so much fun. My Gosling was based on my daughter and Tad's daughter, who were incorrigible. And so it was just so much fun because I would talk about my little mouthy daughter and he would talk about his little mouthy daughter. And so it was just it was just so much fun to be able to take our life experiences and how our kids talk to us and to be able to use it. And that's exactly it. I mean, it was just really out of our own experiences.
Now, Dev, you've been with us over.
What's that?
Oh no, go ahead. Keep going.
No, I used my kids a lot when I went on to do after this, and when I went on to do the Land Before Time sequels. I stole so much from my kids. I'd watch them play, and I go, oh. And dialogue. So yeah, you have to have babies if you want to write, so you want to steal from them. So.
Well, Dev, you've been hanging with us over an hour, so it's up to you
really?
if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to hang around, that's totally up to you. If you need to take off, that's fine.
I'll let you guys go because it's probably this old broad's bedtime. Now I want to get back to watching politics. I've been very involved.
Can I
very
can I just ask about politics in did you ever insert politics into any Darkwing Duck episodes? Any sly little references here and there?
No, I don't believe so. I do it relentlessly now. Relentless.
Not at the time.
I don't care. You want to fire me? Fire me. No, we were so watched at Disney. So
Really?
watched. Maybe I could slip a couple of things in and out, but no, but I do it constantly now. I
was watching Trading Faces, the episode that you wrote, and there's a bit where Steelbeak makes a quick reference about taxes, about giving an excuse to more taxes, and I was thinking, this is this would have been written when Bush Senior put them up. And also you wrote,
You caught me. That was it. Yeah.
Why you put her on blast, Tim?
I remember, and you nailed me. I was very, very cautious about it then because I did get in so much trouble all the time. They couldn't fire me though because they liked me so much. But I do it constantly now because I really believe that art is the best way to change people's minds.
do you come up with the name Oil Arabia?
Yes.
Thank you. Also not subtle.
Yeah, well, I'm not subtle. Any last things?
I have a question. It's a Chip and Dale question. It's about the episode Adventures in Squirrel Sitting. The big musical number near the end, was that originally or always in the script, or was that added later?
Oh no, that was all planned. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it planned that the Chip and Dale would dress as women? Was that planned too?
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
All right. Well, Deb, don't let us hold you. Go ahead and get back to your politics and stuff.
Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, have a good one, Deb, and thank you for the haunting of Mr. Banana Brain.
Okay.
And the Steermannator.
And Time and Punishment.
All of them. Thanks for all of them. You're ahead of your time.